Hi guys, welcome back to another Scout the Defender YouTube video. Now today I'm going to be showing you the install of this, the new ORE Cranked DRL Front bumper. As you can see, it looks really great with that kind of cranked style, and I'm really happy with the final look. I opted to go without the bump stops, again for that kind of clean look, and I'm really happy with the final outcome. If you guys like these videos, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up, as it really helps me out, and we'll start to get into the install. So here we have the package sent from ORE. As always, really neatly packaged and secure to ensure that you've got no damage on delivery. This is the DRL bumper, which I'll be opening in a second, but also with the kit you get the daytime running lights that obviously fit into the holes that will be routed out for the lights. That comes with all of the wiring kit, so you can obviously install them into the bumper and run the wiring through into the car, so that when you turn the ignition on, the daylight running lights will come on. Excited to get those installed. For now, I'm going to open up the bumper and then we can take a look at it once it's out of the box. Right, there we go, so that's the bumper box, so we'll flip it around to have a look and we'll get some shots of it. But as you can see, I went for kind of the crank design, but I think that just looks so good. In the kit you've also got kind of flanking plates, so I'll talk about this more when I go to the install, but when you effectively fit the daylight running lights into the back, often on normal systems, the lights are kind of exposed at the back and mud can flick up and clog up the lights and then cause them to overheat. So here we have some blanking plates, which is really nice kind of solution to that problem. And we also have a fixing kit, which I'll talk around in a second too. Now obviously this bumper is coated in ORE's infamous powder coating technology, which means that obviously if you scuff it, if it gets scratched at all, the powder coating that's surrounding that area won't blister, won't crack, and effectively won't damage the rest of the product. So real great piece of kit that I'm excited to get fitted onto the Defender. Right, so once you have the AC surround off, you then just need to undo the bolts that hold your old bumper on. Depending on what style you have, these may be slightly different. So I'm just going to remove those and also unlink the existing DRLs, and the bumper should then just pop off, ready to install the new one. Right, so we've got the old bumper removed. I've still kept the existing wires for the running lights. That's what I'm going to plug the new running lights into. But I'll give you a walk around as to how that's wired up. I'm now going to install the ring lights into the new bumper, and then we can align it up and then fit it. Back inside now, after taking off the old bumper, I'm now going to fit up the new lighting loom. So I've got the light mounted in place, and what I'm going to do is switch out this bracket for the ORE stainless steel bracket. So I'll do that first. And then we'll basically run the cables down the back of the bumper, like so. So these are the cables, so let's just take this light for example. This light's mounted, the cables run down the bumper. Then going to mount the switch unit into the back of the bumper, like so. Just place it somewhere on the back of the bumper. And then obviously the other light will connect to this end. And then the cables will come through and connect to my existing DRL lighting wiring. Obviously if you've not got a DRL bumper yet, you can just run the wiring through and into the car. What I am going to do is run this all through some conduit to keep it really nice and tidy. So yeah, first of all, swap out the brackets that the lights come with for the ORE stainless ones. So there we have it, that is the ring light mounted to the new ORE bracket. That will now drop into place, and I can mount that up using the screws that are through the bumper itself, and then run the cable down into the bumper. But before that, I'm going to just wrap these cables in a more durable conduit. So now I'm going to just drop this into place, and then we can mount it to the bumper. The other thing to note is I didn't tighten up all of the screws on the bracket kind of the full way to ensure I've just got a little bit of wiggle room to ensure that I can angle the light in the correct way. So now I'm going to just drop on the washers and the bolts onto here and fix it to the bumper. Now, one thing I realised when I was fitting the other light is that in the ring kit there's actually like a little foam gasket to put in between the bracket and the bumper. So I'm taking this light off, I'm going to fit that and then put it back on and do the same on the other side. But yeah, ensure, I was probably just skipping ahead of myself. But yeah, I'm going to ensure that I put the foam pad underneath the bracket just to stop any additional rubbing or wear. Right, so there we have all of the bumper connected. You'll see that I've run the cables through an extra bit of conduit, but again, you don't necessarily have to do that. Going through to the switch box, and then on the switch box I've actually added a plug, only because I've already got existing DRL wiring, so I'm going to use the plug to wire through, and then the conduit runs all the way to the lamp on the other side. So the next thing to do is to fit the I guess kind of like blanking plates that fit over the top of the lamp. So I'll just grab one of those now. So they fit like so over the top to ensure that you don't get any mud kind of covering the lamp and causing any overheating issues. Real nice neat fit, and once that's installed the bumper will then be ready to mount back onto the car. Now that's the blanking plate over the top of the lamps to ensure that no mud clogs them up. Now the bumper's ready to be mounted with all of the wires neatly tucked in the back and the plug ready to connect to the wires that run inside the car. So that's the bumper now installed. We've got the plug for the daylight running lights that runs into the car, so I'll connect that to the back. Then I've just got to drop the bolts through the connecting clamps, and then we're good to go. Right, so now when I'm mounting up the bumper, I'm going to use the fixing plate. The beauty of this is that when I slide it through the chassis and through to in the mounting holes, I've actually got a tab that I can pull to arrange or to align the block that the bolts screw through to. So if you've used any existing systems where they're spring clips, you know how much of a pain it is to get the bumper on and off. With this, I can just easily maneuver the block in place when I'm dropping the bolts through to ensure that I get a nice, clean and easy fit of the bolts. So these are the spring clips that come on many of the Defender bumpers that you can buy aftermarket, but if you notice, when we put the bumper on, the spring clip can often move around, and it's really easy and makes fitting the bumper a real pain. So ORE's solution with the tab, which you can obviously use to kind of align the bolt holes in place, is really helpful. So I definitely advise getting the additional fixing kit with the bumper if you go for it. Right, so time to drop the bolts in, and you can't really see on camera, but I've got the tab to help me maneuver the plate in position. So it was really hard to capture on camera, but hopefully you can see now that this is the tab on the metal plate that comes with the additional fixing kit, and you can hold that and wiggle it into place when you drop the bolts through down into the chassis, and it made the whole fitment so much easier than if you've got the spring clips. So that's now installed, fitted, the bumper's now all in place. You can see again here you've got the metal, or the plinths to stop the mud from sticking to the back of the lights and stop them from overheating. And then you can see also I've got the cables running through into up and then through into the car, and I'm using existing wiring for that. but the loom should easily be able to run down through and then through into the seat box onto the battery. So there we go, that's the fitting all done. Really easy install and really happy with how it looks.
The cranked style, so it gives the Defender a bit more character at the front with the kind of drop, and I really like that look. Also, obviously it's got the DRLs built in, which again I think just modernises the front of the car. I opted for the cranked bumper without the bump stops. There's loads of different options that ORE do, but I think without the bumper kind of stops or bump cap ends, I think it really finishes off the car and it looks really clean and sleek. And then finally, obviously ORE have their awesome powder coating technology, which means that if I chip or bump any of the bumper itself, the rest of the powder coating won't split and won't deteriorate, which is obviously a big plus. The final thing to mention is obviously these curved edges. So some of the other products that I was looking at online, the actual meeting of the metal to form the corner is actually built in several stages rather than one single pressed piece of metal, and this gives a much smoother end cap and finish, especially if you've not got the bumper stops on. It really cleans up that corner of the car, so that is why I opted for the ORE version of the bumper. So there we go, that is the fitting of the ORE front bumper. I hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to check the guys out. I'll leave a link in the description box below. As ever, be sure to subscribe for plenty more content and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps me out, and I'll see you in the next video.